Tonight, Miss de Havilland recreates her original dual role as she plays the twin parts of Ruth and Terry. In a fashionable Fifth Avenue apartment, Dr. Frank Peralta was murdered. Stabbed in the back. The only evidence of disorder was a shattered mirror. Arrested on suspicion of murder was Miss Terry Collins, Dr. Peralta's fiancée, and her identical twin sister, Ruth.
Mr. District Attorney, we've been at this questioning for hours and getting nowhere. Now, look, identical twins, which one of you girls was with Dr. Peralta last night?
One of us spent the evening at Jefferson Park, and the other...
Never mind. How about you, sister?
One of us stayed home.
But which one did which is what I'm asking you. Which one did which?
One of us...
That's what I've been hearing for hours. One of us spent the evening at Jefferson Park, and one of us stayed home. Dr. Elliott, you're a psychologist and authority on the subject of identical twins, and you're personally acquainted with these girls, and
I'll hold it, Lieutenant Stevenson. I knew these girls one at a time. They were working at the newspaper counter in my office building. I didn't know they were twins.
Dr. Elliott, you knew Dr. Peralta and had conversation with him the day he was murdered. He asked you if you ever came across a case of split personality and whether it was dangerous. All right? Clarify that.
I told him I couldn't say, that he had to cite a specific case. Then he said I had a battle with her this morning, and I'm seeing her tonight.
Seeing who tonight?
Miss Collins, I suppose.
Which one?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Where do we go from here, Mr. District Attorney?
Nowhere. You haven't a witness that can tell one girl from the other. I wouldn't have a chance in court. Young ladies, one of you is a murderess. You've killed a man in cold blood. The other is an accomplice. But the law forbids the indiscriminate prosecution of more than one person in order to make sure of one guilty one. I have no words adequate to express my contempt for both of you. Now get out.
We're free?
You're free.
Goodbye, Lieutenant.
Au revoir, Miss Collins. All right, sit down, Doc. I'm a peculiar guy. I don't like the perfect crime, not even in books.
So?
You're a twin expert. Do you know anything, whatever, about these two dames that would give me a chance to begin work?
Oh, sure. The crime. You don't just suppose anyone could commit a murder, do
Look,
you?
You're going to have to be very patient with me. Just what do you mean by that?
Character, personality. Not even nature can duplicate character, even in twins. One of the Collins girls could, and one couldn't commit murder. That's all there is to it.
Doc, do you often interview twins?
Often. But not for the police.
Yeah. Well, you like one of those girls. Now, suppose she's innocent, living with a killer. And one of them killed once with a knife. Don't you think there's a chance she'll kill again? Her sister, if she ever became nervous about her?
There's no doubt about it.
I'll never ask you the name or proof.
It's out of the question, Lieutenant. I'm not a detective. Besides, I didn't say I was in love with the girl. I simply said I like her. But how do I know she wasn't the one who did it?
Come in. Hiya, Doc. Glad to see you. I'm Terry. That's Ruth.
That simplifies things immeasurably. Thank you.
It's been 2 weeks since we've seen you, Doctor. And surely you've seen the papers. We're celebrities now.
And out of a job, too, I gather, Terry.
And I don't know who'll hire us either after what the district attorney said.
That's exactly why I'm here. You know, I'm an old twin collector, and I'm going to add you two to my collection. $25 a week apiece, and you appear in my laboratory 3 times a week for an hour. For science.
What do you say, Ruth? I don't think we're interested. I don't like the idea of being a guinea pig.
I don't want to press you, but if you're afraid...
We have nothing to be afraid of, Doctor. Nothing but snoopers.
Well, in that case, there's nothing more to be said.
Ruth, I think we should do it. I don't think Dr. Elliott's a snooper, and we could certainly use the money. You don't mind being asked a lot of personal questions? Why should I, or why should you? We have nothing to fear. And we've always liked Dr. Elliot. Both of us.
Ruth, I hope you can see things Terry's way. But if you can't, I'll understand and no harm done. Bye now.
Ruth, what's the matter with you? Do you think that was very wise? Why? What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid. Don't lie about it, Ruth. You are afraid. You're more and more afraid every day. Why? Terry, you know very well what it is. You think I killed him. Why don't you admit it? But I don't. You know I don't. Then why are you so frightened? Oh, Terry, if they knew which one of us was in Dr. Peralta's apartment that night, you know what that would mean. He proposed to me there, and I said yes. Why should I kill him? I know that, dear. I know you didn't do it. I know it so well that I'm willing to do anything to keep them from learning you were in his apartment that night. That's the only reason I'm frightened. Believe me, dear. Please believe me. Well, then, is there anything about yourself that you're afraid for Elliot to learn? Oh, of course not. Well, then, stop worrying. There's no need for it. And besides, he's very good looking. I like him.
After all the tests we've made in this laboratory, Terry, I believe I can tell you and Ruth apart.
Well, you're the first one who ever could. Who do you like best? Ruth or...
Naturally you, Terry. Let's get down to business again. Now, these are pictures of ink blots. Just blobs of ink and the paper folded over. Tell me what you see in the blots.
Why?
That's just another way of examining personality.
This blot looks like a lamb. Under its front paws are two men, face down, with their arms outstretched. It all seems symbolic of something. The lamb looks so innocent, but it has two men under its paws.
Symbolic of what?
The Lamb of Death?
Now, what does this blot represent to you, Ruth?
Well, I see a drum majorette with a high bearskin shako. She's very graceful and light-footed.
Your mind runs toward pleasantry. You know, you were telling me you always leaned on Terry.
Yes. All my life, Terry's been like an older sister to me, always helping and protecting me. I remember once when I was about 16, I was crazy about a boy, Freddie Eklund. But Terry simply couldn't stand him. She said he wasn't on the level, and that's the way it turned out. He wasn't.
Now, how'd you find out?
He dated Terry one night, and she told me. Oh, but that's kid stuff.
Let's try another experiment, Ruth. I'm going to give you some words. As soon as you hear the word, you answer with the first word that comes to your mind, you see?
Mm-hmm.
Table.
Chair.
Lamp.
Shade.
Dark.
Night.
Mirror.
Death. But Ruth, how could you have said it? When he said mirror and you said death, it proved you were scared. I didn't know. It just popped out. I don't understand. But I do. I understand some of that mumbo-jumbo, and it's a dead giveaway that it's still in your mind and that I had something to do with it. I'm not afraid of him. I can do that stuff 24 hours a day and beat him at it every time. It's you I'm worried about. But, Terry, I think you're wrong about Scott Elliot. He isn't trying to use me. He's pretty grand, you know. You're falling in love with him, aren't you, Ruth? Oh, you keep saying that to me all the time. Of course not. Well, don't.
Moon.
Beans.
White.
Black.
King.
Queen.
Death.
Mirror. How is my character development, Doctor?
Very interesting, my dear Terry.
Perhaps you've read my mind well enough to know that I might like seeing you.
That's a mighty fine invitation. But I'll have to wait until we finished our tests.
All right. But the first night afterward, it's a date. You won't forget.
Cross my heart. Goodbye now. Detective Lieutenant Stevenson, please. Hello, Scott Elliott, Lieutenant. I have some news for you. One of our young ladies is insane. Very clever, very intelligent, but insane.